And we are live. Hello, everybody. It's Spring B here. I'm here with Jessie Torres. I'm excited. So today I'm actually at the WGR Summit in Provo. It's the 3 days, Colt and Lindsay, and I stepped out of the summit to do this Facebook Live interview because I wanted to share with my audience how powerful Jessie is and her message, and I'll give you guys a little bit of a glimpse of what you're going to experience at Coming to Ignite. We have over half the tickets sold, and I'm just excited about the women that are going to be in the group. So Jessie, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Spring. It's my honor.
Yeah, so maybe tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where you're from, where you live, and then let's dive a little bit into your story.
Sure thing. Right now, I actually find myself in Idaho. I am California born and raised, but have been out here now for a year and a half. And just enjoying. I think it's a beautiful, energetic bubble away from all of the drama in the world. It is really quite beautiful, and I absolutely love it. And my journey is one of, having, childhood abuse with my father, a 18 and a half year marriage of emotional, mental abuse. I had a brother that was murdered when I was 28 years old. He was 29. And just a lot of different dynamics in my journey that had put me at the age of 38 in a state of who am I? Like, who am I?
Yeah.
How did I get here? I had 3 grown kids. I have twin boys, and they were 17 in their senior year in high school. And my daughter, who was 15 at the time. And it was just so traumatic to uproot everybody. But knowing that I had come to a place of complete apathy, and, it's like suicide wasn't an option because of my kids, but I was really praying somebody would blow the red light. And it would just, I could be done with my life and my world. And coming out of that, an act of kindness is actually what helped short circuit something in me that made me believe that life was worth living. And from that, I started to initiate a divorce, and there I was at 38. I'm 57 now. So at 38 years old.
You look amazing, by the way. You look amazing. Yes.
You appreciate it. Really going like, how did I get here? Who am I? And I started an obsession on trying to understand. I would never read. I'd always fall asleep. At this point, I was grabbing every book I could read. I wanted to understand why my father did what he did, why my husband did what he did, and why I allowed it. And I needed to really get clarity about what that was. And I started to open my mind to other possibilities. I believe one of the first books I read was Cheryl Richardson, The Unmistakable Touch of Grace. And I think that opened up my mind to, like, what do you mean that my life could be different? Like, what do you mean that these belief systems I have aren't who I am, right? I thought that's all there was to me. And so from that, I started a journey of, seminars, workshops, anything I could get a hold of. And that led me to my sister had tickets to a seminar, personal development seminar. And I went there, and it was like, this guy was funny. He called, it's actually Matthew Ferry. You would know him in the industry, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Matthew Ferry. And it was just a funny thing. He goes, my mentor, Tony Robbins. And I was like, well, if I like this guy, who's this Tony Robbins guy? And I started to do research, and I read his book. And then ultimately I wanted to get into, I had gone through Coaches Training Institute and gotten certified as a coach through that. And that was through my own healing, through my own therapy. I remember talking to my therapist going, I want to do what you do, but that's a lot of years of school and a lot of commitment. And she says, why don't you become a coach? And this was back in 2006, where it wasn't that big, in the industry. And I started to research it, and through that got certified at CTI. When I started to understand Tony Robbins, I thought, I want to be a coach with that company, because I felt so alive after going to one of his events. And so ultimately, I'll save the story for later, which was just a wonderful story of how I met the director of coaching, and then ultimately became a Tony Robbins coach for like 6 years. And from that, my own evolution of connection to my own process of healing, and recognizing that what I had been through didn't have to be what defined who I was in a bad way, right? Part of the journey is recognizing that our trauma it could be a part that helped build massive muscle in us of resilience and courage versus what happened to us in a negative way. And so
Yeah.
reframe that for all of us.
I love that. I love that, like, hey, at 38, I'm like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't working for me. Because I think as women, we often get caught up of like society norm and this is what I should be doing and my kids and all of that. And you're like, no, this isn't serving me. And how can I take action to change this and change your story, change your life, right?
Right.
But I just don't think a lot of us understand how to do that. Sounds simple. It's
Yeah.
just not easy, but enough pain created that you're like, no, I'm going to go figure this out. Right.
100%.
So you went and figured it out. You've been a coach for Tony Robbins. That was probably a while ago. It sounds like. Now, what are you doing?
Well, now I'm committed to really helping people transform their trauma to triumph, to really kind of look at what happened to them from a different set of lenses. I believe that there is, a beautiful superhero, goddess, whatever, in the arena of your life. And if you're able to see what you built, because whatever you've experienced, whatever has happened to you, there's also the part of the story of you that got back up. The you that was when she was down and out and thought it was her dark night of the soul, stood back up and continued. And I know that if they're in the circle of you, Spring, I know that they are functioning well in life. They're kind, they're good people. So like, you didn't have to. You could have succumbed to your story and buckled down, become an alcoholic. And maybe that was part of your journey. I don't know. But what I do know is that there's another story, and we can actually turn that trauma into, as my daughter calls it, the divine choreography of your life.
Yeah. I love that. Well, it's so true, because I always say my story is, when I was 20, I was burned in a fire. And, it's a long story, but part of that experience was, I was like, am I dying? Because I was completely drugged and all the alarms go off because the woman next to me actually was passing away. And, I remember the doctor being like, it's your choice. You get to live or die. You get to choose if you live or die. And I just remember being like, whoa, this is a choice. And that lesson came from like, you don't get to choose what happens to you in life per se, but you do get to choose how you react to it and how you respond to it and the meaning you put behind it, right? Like
100%.
the meaning that you put behind a story is so powerful. So right now you're helping women transform all aspects. So this is the thing I want to hit home on, because the last, you and a few of my other guest speakers, it's all about, this isn't that you have to have some crazy story. Like we're not having this event of like, hey, we're going to share our traumas and how we can overcome them. That's not it. It is like, you can have anything you want, but your life is a story you're telling yourself, right? And the situations that you're telling yourself. And so what is it that you are identifying, and then how you can change whatever negativity, because we all have it, and then reframe that and create whatever identity and life you want. Would you agree with me, Jessie? That's like
100%.
the meat of all of this.
100%. And what I love about that is that in the context of what happened, sometimes we don't know, right? It's an unconscious conditioning that we create. The outcome here is to recognize, where is there limitation in our lives? And how can we rewrite that story to really break the shackles of any limitations whatsoever? Because I believe that there's no limit to the human being except the belief there is one. So if that's the case, we can be empowered to move forward beyond whatever it is. We all have that voice in our head that's telling us, who are you to do that? And I love your story. Your story is an actual beautiful dynamic of taking a traumatic event and really coming out triumphant, and your desire to help women at this stage of the game by creating an event like Ignite is just like a powerful, like what you got out of that experience, and turning it into light, turning it into good, turning into wanting to give back to others, to recognize that we can rewrite the story.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Ignite has been something I've been wanting to do for a few years, and it actually has come not even because of the whole burn thing. So, of course, the flame, because of the Ignite, and I believe in that. But the reason I chose to put on the event was, I went through a divorce probably 10, 12 years ago. And during that was my identity. That relationship was my identity. My friends in that circle were my identity. Everything was around that relationship. And when I got a divorce, I was like, I don't have any friends. And that's not true. So if any of you are watching this, but you get what I'm saying, like of it just was everything. And I had to reinvent myself. And I'm like, man, I have to take on a new identity. And I also need to create some new friendships and friendship with women that are now serving my higher purpose of who I am becoming. And I ultimately ended up doing like a soul retreat. This is years ago. And I met some women that I actually thought we were getting together, do a business mastermind. And it turned out the facilitator we hired was she was 100% soul retreat. And it was exactly what we all needed. And we formed these friendships that were amazing. And now that's who we travel with and whatnot. And so I've wanted to create this environment that I was like, let's bring together high vibe women. Mm-hmm. Let's bring together high vibe content. Let's create an experience that people would be like, yes, I'm so grateful. And teach women a few life hacks, like talking to you and Dr. Val and Christy with Soul Freedom. And let's just create a tribe of empowering, cool ladies. So that was a long story, Jessie, to tell you, but it didn't come from the whole fire thing. It came from like, I really want to create an environment that women can grow and can grow together and have high-powered, high-level conversations and just ignite their souls together. And so it's really why I'm doing it.
That's so powerful, Spring. And I honor you for it, because I think in the journey, I think most women sometimes, not all, but we've had some of our toughest relationships has been with other women.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can be so hard on each other. So to really bring together a group of high vibe women that are able to trust, to be in a container of unity and growth and, coming together and saying, I'm ready to go to that next level. I'm ready to be the best version of myself. It's just such a powerful, welcoming, I love it, because I think we all need each other.
Yeah, and I'm excited. There's women coming from all over across the country. Some I know, some I don't. Some people are bringing friends. And so, it's a vulnerable spot, to be really transparent with you, of, damn, I'm putting my ass on the line in terms of hey, let's put it together an event and hope people show up. But I just have taken it on of the right women will show up, right? Who is meant to be there is going to be there, and it's going to be great. So, for all of you guys that are listening to this, just to give you context, so I have a coach that I personally have hired that about a year ago, I was like, I just need somebody that's not necessarily a business coach, more of a life coach that has tactics and tools, not the woo-woo. And I do love the woo-woo, but I wanted the real life. And so I asked some of the people I respect, and they recommend me to reach out to Melissa. And so I've been coaching with Melissa, and she is who referred Jessie. Melissa was like, you have to have Jessie on your stage. She's a powerhouse. Her story is amazing. And you would be proud to have her there. And so Jessie, I'm so grateful, because I've heard nothing but amazing about you. If you're going to share one piece from today that you're like, if they didn't come to Ignite, what you'd want them to hear, what would it be?
Sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And I believe that growth is a part of life, right? As the saying goes, if we're not growing, we're dying. So to be able to come to a place where you're getting other high level women, it's like we say, if you surround you are the expectation of your peer group. If you surround yourself with other women that are looking to grow, that are looking to be the best versions of themselves, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? And right now it's not having I have this thing, so I need to go to this event. It's about, I'm ready to up level my life. I'm ready to really see what things I can't see, and just trust that in your experience and in knowing you and what you've been through and what you've done with your life, Spring. I think it's a beautiful, honor to be able to pull from the pool of people that you've connected with that are ready to go to that next level. And it's my honor to be there and to serve you guys. But I would definitely don't get into, should I, shouldn't I? if you're wanting the next level of your life, if you're wanting the next level of your business, if you're wanting the next level of growth for you, don't look for the reasons why. Feel it in your heart, connect and say, you know what, this is for me. And you're going to find a
Yeah.
sisterhood of other women that feel the same way. And if you feel called, don't hesitate. Don't question.
Yeah.
Logic can go into your mind, and all the logistics and all of that can just mess things up. I invite you to really breathe into your heart, really connect to that part of you that's saying, you know, there is this part that I'm missing that I would love to have in my life and more of, and come to the event. No matter
Oh
what,
my gosh.
walk away with goodness.
Yeah, I love that. It's been interesting. So I do 2 events a year. I do one that's the real estate space, and then this. It's been interesting to see how many women have been like, I need this, but yet they haven't pulled the trigger. And I'm
Right.
like, man, do we like, do females, or is this a human thing, you know? But
Mm-hmm.
it's been an interesting thing of how many have been like, I need it. My soul's needing it. I know I need to be there, but yet they haven't taken action. I'm like, well, where else is that showing up for you in life? You
Well,
know,
you know
like,
what? As women, though, that's such a great point. As women, we
mm,
tend to put ourselves last on the list.
yeah,
So your heart is saying, yes, I need this, I want this. And then all the other reasons why, well, what about the kids and all the college fund and all my husband
yeah,
or whatever? Like everything starts to, that's why I say don't go into logic about it, because, you know, first of all, as leaders, and I believe everyone here is a leader, you know, we go first, and we're not waiting for permission to step into the unknown and to do the uncommon. And if that's you and you're ready to do that, don't let all the other things get in the way, because like you said, this is probably showing up in other areas of their lives where, you know what,
mhm,
I know I want to, I need to, but it's a want, not a need kind of conversation. It's more of
yeah.
like your soul is calling to be nourished, calling to be held, calling to be expanded. That's where it stops. Make the decision, pull the trigger, and don't let other things get in the way of choosing you.
Yep. I love that. I always say how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you want things to show up in your life, you have to show up for other opportunities, right? So when anything happens, like I pull the trigger immediately because in my own personal life, just on things that I'm like, that's how I want things to show up for me, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
um,
And that's
all
such
right,
a great
ladies.
point. It really is. I
Yeah.
mean, I again, it's like I remember I went through an experience where it was really hurtful at the end, and it was a relationship that I built, and um, I felt not chosen, right? Which
Mm,
is just kind of a silly reference to think about not being chosen, but that's how I walked away, and I was so hurt, and I thought, well, Jessie, how can you expect someone to choose you when you're not choosing you?
mm,
And it was such a big lesson for me to go, oh, you know, like I have to be willing to choose myself, nurture, honor, and take care of myself so that I could expect that in relationships, right? So I could
mhm.
expect other people to meet me in that space. And so, and when it comes to business, when it comes to any of that, you vibrate at that frequency where it's like choosing you would like be, you know, a no-brainer. You know what I mean? But that comes
Yeah.
from within. It comes from us choosing ourselves. So I
Yep.
love that. You know, take action, choose you, you deserve it. And no matter what, you're going to walk away inspired and held.
Hmm. Yeah, the event I'm here today. I mean, I everything I've been listening to is funny. Katie, who's in the background here, we were talking on the way here. I'm like, everything in life is energy. It's just a big ball of energy, and it's the energy that we even put out inside is what we're getting on the outside, right? Everything's created inside. It's created twice, is what Katie and I were talking about. It's created on the inside, and then it's created on the outside. But
That's right.
you can maybe hear, maybe you can't. Like the event I'm at, it is just bumping, like because
That's it.
everything is all about energy and creating that environment that it's like you get in life what you think you deserve and your identity, and you just have to go for it. Like you have it out there, you have it inside of you, so you just have to go for it. um with that being said, ladies, if you're thinking about it, like we're a month out to almost a month, this room is going to be full of power. Like, and when I say power, I mean like women who are radiating high energy, excitement. I've seen the guest list of people who've signed up so far, and I'm like, hell yes, I'm so excited. And then I see people like you and our other speakers. I'm like, these are women I would want in my tribe. Like the conversations are just next level. Have you guys ever been around people, and Jesse, you probably have too, where you're like, man, this is like the lowest level of vibration ever.
Yeah.
Or the conversation where you're like, hey, maybe this conversation served me a year or two ago, but it doesn't serve me anymore, right? So this environment we're creating is for you to find that tribe to help you go to that next level. Not even just your tribe, but just you, the atmosphere. So if you're interested, I'll have Katie, we put the link below where they can sign up. And then Jesse, in the meantime, if somebody wanted to connect with you outside of Ignite, how could they find out?
They could just go to unshakablelife.com. And
Okay.
they can connect with me there, and they could see what I'm about. And if they feel called, you can book a call, and I'm happy to support you in any way possible. But again, coming back full circle, it's like people won't say yes to you if you don't say yes to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've already
So
felt
true.
it inside of you, just if it's a yes, that's where it stops. Take the action that comes after that and book this, because you won't want to miss it.
Yeah. I keep on saying I'm going to end it with this, but I just did a breath work session. Have you done breath work before, Jesse?
Yes.
I did one right before we came on here through this event. And the energy of just like what came to me was like, okay, we are here to facilitate, like we are here to create an environment of like, let's go. And the universe gives you what you think you deserve. So ladies, I'm excited. Jesse, I'm excited. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you for being flexible, you guys. I was a hot mess trying to get on here earlier, and Jesse was a champ of waiting for me. So
I'm
I
super honored
appreciate
to be
you.
here. I'm super honored
Yeah.
and excited, and I just can't wait for the date to get here. We're going to have such a good time.
Yes. And Janice commented she needed this today. Yeah. So details below, Janice, of Ignite. If you have specific questions, DM me. Myself or my team will get back to you. But if you feel like you need to be there, we'd love to have you. So that being said, we'll see you guys all at Ignite. Thank you, Jesse.
Awesome. You were welcome.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.